Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this work session regular meeting of the Franklin Township Council was made as required, indicating that this meeting would take place at the Municipal Building at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, August 12, 2025.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation by Dr. Karazi. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Let us take the next few moments of silence to each seek in our own way whatever sources of inspiration will grant us the strength and power in our thoughts and decisions to be for the benefit of all people at all times. Amen.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Embarrasson?
Here.
Councilwoman Francois? Councilman Karazi?
Here.
Mayor Kramer?
Here.
Councilman Onijaka?
Here.
Councilmember Potosnik?
Present.
Deputy Mayor Udine? Here. Councilman Vasanella?
Here.
Councilman Wright?
We're at item number 5 on the agenda. Copies of the agenda are there near the clerk. That's the commendations and proclamations. We have none. We're on to number 6, public discussion. Do I have unanimous consent to open to the public? Seeing no one objecting, we're open to the public. Anyone is allowed to speak about anything related to government. You are limited to 5 minutes. No yielding of time. May only come up once. And please state your name and address.
Good evening. I'm Diane Harris, 4 King Road, Somerset.
Excuse me, I can't hear the microphone. Is it on?
Mm-hmm.
We gotta get closer, I think.
Okay. It's not the greatest microphone. Maybe just go a little closer. Want to hear what you have to say. Thank you.
Okay. I'm Diane Harris, 4 King Road, Somerset, New Jersey, and I'm representing the Parkside Senior Citizens Club. And with me, you can see I have some of my members, not all. We are a club of 135 senior citizens throughout the Township of Franklin. And they're here, though, to show you that we represent all of you, all of your constituents, and we've been trying for during my tenure, 3 years, to have some improvements made to the senior center. And we keep getting promises, it'll be done this. So I'm not going to take you back to 2022 when we started. I'm just going to go back to the last email that I received in June when I asked what is going on. And curb cutouts near the accessible spaces. Do you understand that you have handicapped parking spaces throughout this complex? And the curb cutouts are not by the handicapped spaces. The curb cutouts push you into the street to walk, to further go up to a doorway. We would like to have curb cutouts by the handicap parking. And since you haven't done anything by the senior center about curb cutouts, I see you've done here, we hope you will think about that before they're just placed in. We asked for a power washing of the building, and we were told that the township does not power wash these buildings. It's too excessive and too much. Well, then I would say, could someone please from the Department of Public Works come down and wash that one window that everyone walks by that is full of dirt and bug, Dimitri, and things of that sort. And I invite you all to come to the center if you haven't been there recently and to walk through it and to just see it. Paint, exterior building sign letters. They will be painted in 2 weeks. My memo was dated June. It hasn't been painted. Meeting room, kitchen floor, and cabinet renovations. Flooring was included in 2024 and 2025 capital budgets. It's currently being scheduled The kitchen will be done first, and the meeting rooms will be done during winter holidays when no senior meetings are scheduled. I bring that up only to say that I don't know when no senior meetings are scheduled. You have Martin Luther King Day, that's a Monday, we won't be there, and you have President's Day. So I find this to be a little bit of gaslighting, because the center is open for seniors all the time. It is not closed. Landscaping in front of the building. The building,
Speak into the mic,
I'm
please, so we
sorry.
can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, the building is really very pedestrian looking. It's not exciting, it's not inviting. We made a suggestion for some landscaping that was going to be supported by a national organization, and we were told that the Department of Public Works didn't have the manpower to maintain it. Well, the gazebo over here is maintained some sort of way, and we can plant flowers. Many members of our groups are also members of the Franklin Women's Group. We can get the people to plant perennials, to put a tree. You give trees away every year. Could a tree be put out there? The next thing is kind of a pet peeve that I've had. It's Grasso Grove. When I first started there, it was all covered over. I have to acknowledge you did cut back some of the overgrown weeds and make it look more inviting. But we've been waiting for benches that we could sit on. And in, I think it was in 2022, the then director told us the benches were on order and they were ADA compliant and we would have them. We still don't have them. This email says, Department of Public Works is working on order to 10 ADA picnic tables and planning on starting the cleanup and restoration of pathways next week. Again, this was a memo written in June. Lobby, lighting. When you first walk in, there are no lights. And they've been broken for a while. I could go on. I could tell you that, and I'm running out of time, that the door that for the handicap access does not work. You push the button, it opens this much, and you have to pull and push to get in. I implore you to stop ignoring us, to come out and see and do something. You know, I'm not asking you to do things that are out of budget, but if you can, appreciate it.
Can I ask a follow-up question just to clarify? You mean, Shirley, Diane? You mean the senior center here in this complex, right? Okay, just wanted to make that clear.
Which is another thing about it not being part of the count, but I'm not reading that now.
Alex Clark, 396 Hamilton Street. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I want to address the comments made by Mr. Rob Peterson at the last council meeting on July 8th regarding ranked choice voting. Just to refresh everyone, ranked choice is an election process by which voters rank candidates in order of preference. It is still one person, one vote. But candidates with the fewest votes are eliminated and their votes are transferred until there is a majority winner. First, Mr. Peterson described ranked choice as ranked choice roulette. There is no element of chance or gambling involved in ranked choice voting. Candidates require majority support in order to win, and they must put in the work to earn that support. No one is waking up one day to find out that they won an election by accident. By requiring majority support, ranked choice voting ensures that the winning candidates are the ones who best represent the people and ensures that elected officials are beholden to the people. That is not roulette, that is a fair election. Secondly, there was a suggestion that the mayoral race in New York City was, quote, pretty crazy, end quote, in the chance that that was referring to the winner of the primary, because it wasn't clear. Keep in mind that Mamdani won in the final round, 56% of the vote, and it may come as a surprise to some people, but New York City is a very liberal city. The voters in the Democratic primary are getting the representation that they want. Without majority support, Mamdani's opponents might have tried to claim that most voters did not agree with his ideas. In New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill won the Democratic primary with 34% of the vote. Her opponents may likewise try to argue that with only 34% support, most New Jerseyans may disagree with her message when that may not actually be the case. The concept of ranked choice voting is nonpartisan. Keep in mind also that in conservative districts, ranked choice will ensure that those voters will get the conservative leadership that they want. Third, there was a claim that exhausted ballots are thrown away, which is false. The ballots are counted. If all the candidates you rank are eliminated, then your ballot becomes inactive. But that's because you didn't like any of the other candidates. And we know that from surveys, from actual elections. People rank the candidates they like. They don't rank the candidates that they don't like. We don't suggest that voters should be forced to rank candidates they don't like. Furthermore, we already see wasted votes in plurality elections today, especially when there are several candidates running. By the final round of the New York City mayoral primary, only 5% of the ballots were exhausted. And that is a typical exhaustion rate for ranked choice elections. In other words, 95% of the votes in the final round were still in play for either Mamdani or Cuomo. 95% of voters still had their voices heard. Meanwhile, in the New Jersey gubernatorial primary, 34% voted Sherrill, 21% voted Baraka, and 45% of the vote was essentially out of play, basically meaningless. That's only 5% of out of play votes in a ranked choice election versus 45% out of play, essentially, in a plurality election. Ranked choice voting ensures that your vote is far more likely to matter because you have the opportunity to rank multiple candidates instead of just voting for one. There was also a claim that ranked choice voting is expensive, which is ironic because one of the benefits of ranked choice is that it helps reduce expenses by avoiding costly, low turnout runoff elections. The ballot machines in New Jersey already have the capability to handle ranked choice voting, so that helps to reduce the costs. Typically, it's the software update that is required in most cases. According to the National Conference of State Legislatures, the median cost for local election jurisdictions to implement ranked choice is $17,000 or 43 cents per voter. We have an item in the consent agenda tonight, resolution number 25-337, which awards $17,000 for gazebo lighting. But my point is that $17,000 is not a lot of money for a township like Franklin or other towns in New Jersey. Lastly, it was argued that ranked choice voting is opaque and hard to verify. One of the main goals of ranked choice voting is to ensure fair representation and to ensure that we elect leaders who best represent us. Of course, it is critical that we have confidence and transparency in the process through which those leaders are elected. In ranked choice voting, best practices propose that vote records are made publicly available online with instructions so that anyone can verify and audit the election results using independent software or manual procedures, and you can do it manually without a computer. We can and should follow similar practices in our elections. And lastly, I just want to mention that since the last council meeting, a couple organizations have signed our letter of support. That's the Veterans of All Voters and the College Democrats of New Jersey. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Good evening, all. My name is Agnes Kulubanya, and I'm the Franklin Township member, and also a member of the Senior Center.
Address, please.
165 Columbus Drive, Franklin Park, New Jersey, 0888723. Franklin Senior Center has been just addressed, but I want to readdress it again. Oh, what a shame to the Township of Franklin. The center looks as old as Methuselah. Unreadable building sign that's supposed to be read. Unpainted outer and inner walls. Carving and watermark ceilings. Bug-infested rooms. Unusable kitchen. Entrance doors creaks and takes ages to open. Even my old bones don't sound like that. Lawns are dry and dusty with hard shrubs they call flowers. Vicinity looks like a Halloween graveyard scene. What a shame when dignitaries enter the facility. Remember, we the seniors are your #1 voters. You make promises you don't keep. With all the smoke shops in the township, the proceeds can be used to upgrade our center. When are you going to stop making promises that you don't carry, you don't keep? Remember, renovation is needed now. How long can we wait? Since 2023, we have been waiting. 2022, we have been waiting. We, the recycled teens of Franklin Township, need you now to help us. We don't have to look old as the building. Please, thank you. Amen.
Hello, my name is Karen Newman, 56 Bryan Court. My husband, Jonathan, was the person who collapsed and died on March 14th of this year in our Canal Walk. I'm going to wait till he finishes talking. Can you pause it, please? Because, I'm sorry. I just want to start because you were talking so. Okay. Karen Newman, 56 Bryan Court. My husband, Jonathan, was the person who collapsed and died on March 14th of this year in our Canal Walk clubhouse. Jonathan was my second chance at love. I lost my first crush, first love, first husband nearly 16 years ago to a brain tumor. Jeff was a neuroanesthesiologist. I was there when he was studying at Johns Hopkins Medical School and beyond. I saw him study for basic life support, advanced cardiac life support, and as he taught the ACLS classes to other medical professionals. I picked up on what should be done during a cardiac emergency to give the best chances of survival. I watched the recording from the clubhouse camera showing Jonathan exiting the fitness room until the EMTs took him to the hospital. I watched the body cams of the 2 police officers who responded to the emergency. I received the hospital report that included the notes from the EMTs and the doctors who tried to save him. There were positive actions that day, but there were also a great many failures. My reason for collecting all that information that I did, and the reason I am here, is that just maybe someone else, we can make improvements so someone else, if someone else collapses, those tasked with responding will do better. First, response times. The first police officer arrived 5 minutes after the 911 call, but it was only 1 police officer. The question for you is, how many police officers are normally dispatched for a cardiac arrest? Soon after that first police officer arrived, she appeared to be calling for additional help. It took 10 more minutes for a second police officer to arrive. Performing CPR is physically demanding. 1 police officer can't realistically do CPR alone. It takes 2 people to keep CPR going until the EMTs arrive. Next, the first police officer should have attached the AED immediately, even before oxygen. Jonathan was in ventricular fibrillation, VFib. When someone is in VFib, immediate defibrillation is crucial. The goal is to deliver that first shock as quickly as possible, as each minute of delay significantly decreases the chances of successful defibrillation and survival. While there's no set time frame for how long it should take for someone to get out of VFib, the longer the delay in defibrillation, the less likely of a positive outcome. In cases of witnessed out-of-hospital cardiac arrest with VFib as the initial rhythm, over 93% of shocks successfully terminated VFib when delivered within 6 minutes. That first police officer on scene took 6 minutes to attach the AED. Once the AED is attached, it needs another minute to charge before it can deliver the shock to the heart. This is in addition to the 5 minutes that it took for the police officer to arrive on scene. The body cam of the first police officer is deceiving. It does not adequately show how much time was wasted by standing around instead of attending to Jonathan. The clubhouse camera does a better job to show the wasted time. I showed the video to my brother-in-law, who's a family doctor in practice for 42 years. He commented on that very point. There was just too much time standing around. CPR has to be done properly in order for it to do any good. The first police officer was not kneeling while performing CPR. The proper position is crucial to deliver the kind of compressions that will do any good. It was clear this was her first time involved in a cardiac arrest because you could hear on the body cam that there was the first time she was using the AED and saw the shock being delivered. The second police officer did a much better job performing CPR, but it came too late. The CPR wasn't done until 17 minutes after that 911 call was placed. In summary, we need more than one police officer to be dispatched for a cardiac arrest, and we need them to be properly trained. We owe it to Jonathan's memory to do better. This is a picture of Jonathan that was taken just under 5 weeks before he died. I would be happy to meet with any of you privately to share that video from our clubhouse camera and to give you a better idea of what transpired that day. And I also have the timeline from what happened, so I'll be happy to give that to you later. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jan Brandt, and I live in Canal Walk. I'm a neighbor of Karen's and a friend. I'm a nurse. I also have a master's degree in health science. I have studied CPR efficacy, and I consider myself an expert in the field.
Address, please.
At 22 Bryant Court.
Thank you.
I've spoken to the Township Council in the past about CPR response in Franklin Township in relation to Jonathan Newman. I have questions and a recommendation for the council in reference to emergency response. Franklin Township has many senior living communities with thousands of residents. Franklin Township is comprised of 28% of the population are 60 and over, as we see here, a good representation. What happened to Jonathan is a tragedy. Sometimes it takes a tragedy to change things. For example, 11-year-old cheerleader named Janet in Warren, New Jersey, suffered a cardiac arrest on an athletic field. Her parents didn't want the same thing to happen to anyone else. The family lobbied for legislation requiring defibrillators on school grounds, and Janet's Law was born. Every public and private school in New Jersey must have an automated external defibrillator on campus. Nursing homes are required to have a certain amount of people CPR certified staff. After reviewing, Karen shared the tape with me, after reviewing the collapse of Jonathan, which was right outside the Canal Walk gym, the message that the tape delivered to me is that people in our community had to be CPR and AED trained. He might still be around if our staff was trained. Like Karen said, he was in ventricular fibrillation, which is a shockable arrhythmia that he can survive if it's responded to within minutes. I have asked our HOA board to request the management staff to be certified, and as of now, I don't know if that will happen. In my opinion, I think some personnel might not know that there are Good Samaritan laws that will protect them if they did respond to an emergency. People don't want to take the risk. We do have trainings in our community for residents, and I want to give a big thank you to the Millstone Volunteer Squad because they come out and they do trainings whenever we request them to come out. But I believe there should be regulations, requirements for AED, CPR certifications, and emergency plans in communities with seniors, and that's something that the Township Council can consider. I understand that staff in some cases may only be present Monday through Friday business hours. However, something is better than nothing. If the staff were trained at Canal Walk, the outcome may have been different for this emergency because it occurred in the clubhouse right outside the gym during staffed hours with an AED that was less than 5 feet away. The staff did call 911 immediately, Unfortunately, the staff were not trained, and they waited until the officer arrived. The officer did arrive 5 minutes after the 911 call, but the time to hook up the AED and start CPR is best during the first 5 minutes that a person collapses. We have a few AEDs in our clubhouse located in different places. In conclusion, I'm asking the council to think about asking staff at communities that have seniors in their population that there must be people that are trained in AED and CPR. How about starting off with an ordinance called Jonathan's Law, requiring AED, CPR certifications, and emergency plans in all senior communities? We do it for nursing homes, and why not try it for a senior community as well? The next person we save may be your friend, relative, or neighbor. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joyce Lee, 36 Timber Hill Drive, Franklin. I don't want to reiterate what was said by Diane and Agnes, but one thing I've noticed, I've only been in Franklin a couple of years. One thing I noticed about the Franklin Senior Program versus from where I come from is that you pay for everything. Yoga classes, Zumba classes, any exercise class you take, but you have to pay for it. And then you come into the facilities, you got the problem from the ceiling to the floor. You can't use the kitchen because of its condition. You can't use the grove because the benches are raggedy. And for 3 years, I have also heard about the bid process. Whoever intends to respond to the club, I ask you do one thing. Do not tell us about the bid process. Tell us when the jobs will be complete. That's all we care about at this point. We've heard all the stories. We heard about 40A and the state contract and everything else. We've got nothing. Please, give us a direct response as to when the job will be complete. And also, we don't have lunches. Every senior center around gets lunches. Can someone respond as to why that doesn't happen in Franklin? No? Okay. So I ask that you also respond to that. Let us know why Franklin is one of the only towns around that does not get senior lunches. That's my comment.
Benjamin Guy, 35 Patton Drive. On just for this announcement, this will probably be done by either Ms. Francois or Mr. Wright, just to still their thumb a little bit more. But just for a happy note, August 16th in Naaman Williams Park, 42 Matilda Avenue, Somerset, New Jersey. 2 to 5 p.m. will be the Week of the People Festival. So anybody could come out, tell a friend to actually come out January 16th. So it'll be this Saturday. So anybody that needs book bags or doing August. Sorry about that. Thank you for keeping me abreast. That's all. So I can't read sometimes, so I apologize. But free activities for the families, kids, and everybody else. So book bags will be given away. I guess based on the PBA, actually, in the police department actually arranging that during the time frame with Somerset Community Action Program. All right. So that's one thing. Second portion, just to comment on things that were reiterated before, and I guess this will be brought up in before. So I asked this question almost 3 years ago, never got a really report, but just want to ask it again. So classification, and Mr. Von Lucker's not here, but classification, we had a surplus 22 years in 2022, right, based on budgets. It was about $22 million that was actually reported, and then we had COVID relief money that we actually had, which is about $6.3 to $7.3 million, which is roughly $30 million outside of our municipal budget at all. So my question is, for that portion, what have we done with that money to reinvest in programming or tax rebates that actually can be done with the actual community itself? Because as Ram and the mayor are hosting next week, we're raising property taxes, and property taxes went up dramatically because of things that are going on. So I'm asking the question, over the spend down that we actually did over the last, from 2022 to 2025, what did we do with that money at all? Because it's not municipal raise money that we had to do for taxes. What did we do with that money? Because it was a surplus. So I'm asking that specific question, and y'all can answer later on.
I'm sorry, Mr. Guy, what, just,
You can pause.
what is your
You can
actual,
pause my time.
what is your actual question?
Pause my time. Go ahead.
I couldn't get, what was your actual question?
My question, what did you do with the money?
What money?
Yeah, so you can go back to your budget, you can go back, I can send you the film, and you can ask your council people what I'm talking about. So again, you can start my time again. So y'all can talk about it later. So again, for economic spending or together, that's there. So again, there was another question that came up during the time frame, I think when I was in a zoning board meeting. So we had, and Mr. Dahmer can talk to this later on, and Mr. Healy can talk to this later on. So there's a big uprising about the number of cannabis stores that was actually in the cannabis units that actually were actually in our area. Permitting-wise, when we opened it up, it was pretty much around 40 permitted applications that came through in the beginning. We knocked it down to 18 or 22, 21, roughly that's going to be permitted out. I'm asking the question, and this is from business portion, from an economic standpoint. Did we refund those people that out of the other 20, or did we keep their money for applications? Just a question, because as a business owner, if I apply the application and you denied me, I would like my money back. And I'm just saying that just in fairness, because that's a cap portion that they did not get into because of state parameters that was going on for the CRC, because they followed the guidelines. They did what they wanted to do. Now, if the township took that money, I feel like as a business owner, advocate for small business people when we sit on the Hamilton Street board, that you should give that money back. And I don't think you should keep the money. That's me personally. So that's about it. So y'all can go back and forth and have that conversation behind the scenes. Again, to talk directly to the senior thing, I'll leave my other comment alone because I'll leave this one alone. But because this came up for the senior thing, I specifically know that Bo, the Parks and Rec director, had promised them to actually do stuff before, and with the gardens and other things that are there. Bo's not here no more, so I'm not sure if Steve, Dahl, or somebody else is picking up the slack. But again, that portion needs to be handed off. It needs to be handed off, not emailed, handed off to Steve to let him know the behind the scenes on what's going on so he can pick up the slack and expedite that process. Because again, to be fair to Steven, he's new. Bo just left. And again, to be fair to somebody that's coming in to try to make a new way and start off a new foot on the ground, somebody needs to walk him through that process of what happened in the past, where it's at, and actually answer these people questions, so that it doesn't start back over. And again, for a workforce portion, and I'm going to throw this back to Ram and Kimberly. If you need help, you just train people through a workforce grant, and you got RVC. This can be a volunteer effort for them to get credits for on-job training stuff that the town council can do, because there is money allocated for both sides of that. You guys can work with the workforce board to actually do this, and work with the seniors to actually get that done. So again, just ideas so that we can move forward, rather than bickering and going back and forth and adding solutions to the table. Thank you.
Good evening. Danielle Rice, 78 Tumble Falls Road, Stockton, New Jersey. I am not a resident of Franklin Township, but I am here to address the ordinance number 4471-25, the feeding ban that's being considered. I am a subject matter expert, and I'm also speaking on behalf of a resident in Franklin Township who is afraid to speak out for fear of retaliation against herself and the cats she cares for. I work at Tabby's Place, a cat sanctuary in Ringgoes, New Jersey, and I have 23 years of experience in animal welfare. I understand that you have taken up this ordinance due to complaints regarding sloppy feeding practices. Residents absolutely have the right not to have their properties littered. This is a concern for residents, for cats, and for trap-neuter return programs, or TNR programs. On the surface, this ordinance appears well-intentioned. I appreciate you taking your constituents' concerns seriously and making an effort to support cats in your community. However, In my opinion, this ordinance does nothing to address these concerns. This will be punishing to cats in your community and to the people who care for them. A feeding ban will create fear for caring individuals who care for cats in your community. Hungry cats don't just disappear. The abrupt removal of food sources create desperate, hungry cats who attempt to feed from dumpsters, beg for food, and try to enter people's homes, thus increasing nuisance behaviors and human-cat interaction, which can be a public health hazard. Feeding bans discourage TNR, which have been a proven method of controlling community cat populations and saving towns money. Through TNR, nonprofits and Good Samaritans do work for free for the township, fixing and caring for cats that the town would otherwise have to pay for and need to take responsibility for. I understand that TNR has been controversial in this community. However, when TNR is applied properly, it provides the best outcomes for community members and cats by reducing community cat populations and encouraging the proper care of cats. Proper TNR, if executed properly, cats should not be seen in the community. They should be out of sight, out of mind for community members. As elected officials, you have been selected to serve the people and animals of your community. This ordinance does neither of those things. Do not pass this ordinance. Instead, support more TNR efforts in your community following best practices for TNR. Tabby's Place and myself would be happy to support you in doing this by offering proper training on trapping and proper care of community cats. Thank you.
My name is Lori Stagnito. Is this on? You can hear it? Low it? Okay, gotcha. All right, my name is Lori Stagnito. I am also here for the community cat ordinance. I am a well-known animal advocate, mostly in Hunterdon, Bucks, but we work, as Danielle and I are colleagues in different organizations, but we work together throughout New Jersey and beyond in animal welfare. I'm also a certified New Jersey animal control officer and a certified New Jersey cruelty investigator. I too ask you to table this ordinance and talk to experts about best practices for feeding outdoor community cats. It's understandable that feeding unowned free-roaming cats might result in a legitimate nuisance complaint, especially if the cats are not fixed, vaccinated, and managed properly. But these issues can be addressed with guidance from Trap Neuter Return, TNR groups, as well as your animal control officer, as we have in some Hunterdon County towns, who will work with community members to help with TNR and share best practices for caring for colonies, as we do in Hunterdon County. Not allowing residents to feed unowned cats might seem like a logical approach to reducing such nuisance issues. However, enforcement of such policies is extremely difficult, especially with a population of over 68,000 people. And it will likely impede sterilization efforts, thereby exacerbating the very situation these policies are intended to address. All national animal welfare organizations, including the top one for outdoor community cats, which is called Alley Cat Allies, oppose feeding bans for community cats. Feeding bans are cruel and do not achieve their goal of removing cats from the community. Feeding ban laws, ordinances, and policies are misguided policies and are ineffective both for the overpopulation of cats as well as the fact that it's not scientifically supported. Feeding bans encourage cats to roam further to find food, making them more visible, which can actually increase calls to animal control. Managing a colony with a program that includes trap, neuter, return, and consistent organized feeding discouraging is roaming because neutered males are no longer searching for mates, and there is a decreased competition for dominance. Cats who are fed on a regular schedule tend to stay in close proximity to their feeding stations. Feeders can also exercise control over behavior of cats by gradually moving their feeding stations into less trafficked areas. Feeding bans discourage the practice of TNR, the only effective course of action for stabilizing the community cat overpopulation. And it does, as Danielle said, punish the very people who are working to improve conditions for cats and for the community. They're very difficult to enforce. You will actually have neighbors complaining about neighbors and fights and lawsuits, and it can get very ugly. We've seen it happen. Feeding bans are punitive and tend to direct resources towards administrative tasks like enforcement and away from incentive-based programs that encourage spay-neuter. And the ineffective ordinances like feeding bans are a waste of taxpayers' money. I ask that you table this ordinance until you speak with experts on community cats like myself, Danielle. I believe our colleague at the Animal Protection League of New Jersey has sent you an email, and she specializes in outdoor community cats. And Danielle and I also teach seminars to the public on trapping and the gold standard for community cat colonies, and we gladly hold seminars in Franklin Township to help your residents with their community cats. I also wanted to say I noted in your ordinance a definition. One of your definitions was wildlife should mean all animals that are not domesticated, including but not limited to feral cats. Feral cats, and we don't, by the way, we don't call them feral cats, we call them community cats because the word feral is very scary. Cats are domestic animals. They would never be included in the word wildlife. So I thank you for listening, and I hope that somehow we can all work together to figure out what's best for Franklin Township, the community, and the animals within your township as well. Thank you.
My name is Yang Zhou. I'm living in 128 Selby Court. And last week, I received the property tax bill. I was shocked by the amount, how much it's increased. And last year, I got the property tax is the total full bill is $6,529 for the property tax. And this year, and I got $8,019, which is total increase 22.8%. I'm shocked. I want to know that why they increase so much. I know that there's the inflation, but the inflation don't increase 22%. And my job, I got this year's pay, the increase is only 3%. And then how they come this high increase rate? I want to know if it can be changed. If it cannot, then I ask to consider when you increase the property tax, you need to think about is the burden bring all this residents. Yeah, I accept 10% increase, but 22%, 22.8%, I'm not accepted. Okay, that's my complaint.
Excuse me, what was your address again?
128 Shelby Court.
28.
Shelby Court. Shelby Court. Shelby, S-E-B-E-Y.
Shelby.
Shelby, S-E-L-B-E-Y, Shelby Court. It's right in Quailbrook.
S-E-L-B.
Not only my house have this increase. If you check the others around surrounding, always about 20% increase. Thank you.
Javon Walker, 15 Coon Street. A few things that I want to speak on. The first thing is the property taxes. Yeah, I got my bill. I didn't do the math, but I'm sure it's going to be like 10, 15, 20%. It's pretty wild that we live in a state where people pay $8,000, $7,000, $12,000. They look at us and they say, "Oh, that's not that bad. I pay like $15,000 in taxes." It's pretty wild. But I wanted to know from the council: is there a way that we can challenge the city or the township? I just want to know, like, I know in some townships, like, they can go back and say, well, I don't think my assessment should be this high and blah, blah, blah. I just want to be on the record and just say, just want to question the council if that's possible.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Second thing is the Councilman Rom, I believe you have an upcoming like seminar on the tax rate. When is the date of that? The 21st. Okay. And is there going to be a discussion on the resolution about the clerk sending like two separate things? Okay, that's fine. Because I was looking at the agenda, I saw that there was a resolution about sending a letter to state legislators regarding property tax-based funding reform. Is that going to be brought up at your seminar on the 21st, or is that something just for this council?
Yeah, so that's a different.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Next thing is, on the committee website for Franklin Township, I saw that there were 3 certain committees that I had applied for maybe about a month or 2 ago. They were the Youth Services Council, Advisory Recreation Council, Cultural Arts Council, and Youth Services Commission / Alliance Against Drug Abuse. I submitted applications for these 3 committees because I think I can make a difference, and especially since there's a vacancy at them, I think at least some kind of applicant could be in the council and try to help the community as best as possible. So just reinventing the wheel on that. Again, I submitted my application about a month or 2 ago, and I haven't heard anything back. So hopefully some kind of action can be taking place on it. The second thing is also sent one email, a very large, detailed email to the council about my World Cup idea. In the detailed email, I basically covered as much as I could. Attendance, pricing, venue, costs, merchandising, work with outside groups, maybe the Chamber of Commerce, outside businesses, nonprofits, so forth. But I tried to give as detailed of an email as possible about possible venues that we could use, how much things could cost, whether you charge, whether you price, and so forth. But I haven't heard anything back. I know in comparison to many of the things that people have brought up, this is at the lowest priority. But just want to reinvent the wheel on that as well. Thank you.
Mr. Walker, your address again? I'm sorry.
15 Coon Street, Somerset.
How do you spell that?
Kuhn.
Oh, Kuhn. Okay.
Hi, good evening, Council. Ella Mulcansey, 167 Alcorn Street. A lot of you were present at Franklin High School for the send-off ceremony for the 42nd RSG. I want to thank you for that. I had the honor Sunday of meeting the chaplain who's deploying with them, Chaplain Schwartz. They're going to Iraq for 9 months, for those who don't know. And got a chance to talk to him. It was the first time I met him, and we had a lot in common. Growing up here, I've all I knew about the National Guard Armory was the tank that was right there. Like every day driving the school bus, we would just drive by the tank, but never knew they had a presence in the township, never knew what they did, just knew they had a tank, and I was like, all right, that's a pretty cool tank. But now that I serve as a chaplain candidate with the Guard, I see the importance of working with the service members and working with them as important members of the township. And so with that, to echo my brother who was talking about being part of the local councils and the local committees, I also put in for the Hamilton Street Advisory Board, and I'm here to echo that. But then, put also that the Armory is off of Hamilton Street, and in the 9 months that Chaplain Schwartz is going to be overseas, the least I could do is to make sure that the company that he's responsible for, they're taken care of and they're valued in the township. And so that's all I have to say. All right, thank you.
Hello, Rob Johnson, 15 Lion. I just want to thank the board for quickly coming back to the possible reintroduction of the ordinance over the wildlife feeding as well as the cat colony. It's very appreciated. The one thing that the activists don't seem to consider is the cost to people who are not involved in this. Breezeways and condo buildings end up costing money to clean up. There's no consideration of that. In addition to when they leave the food out, it also, last fall, I'm not exaggerating, it attracted like 15 buzzards, so it's a whole thing that's not being considered. I mean, the people mean well, but it's just not sustainable and right to people who don't choose to be involved. But thanks for everything. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hello, Valerie Martelli, 41 Crabapple Lane, Franklin Park. And again, as Rob mentioned, I would like to thank the council for considering all the information regarding the ordinance on feeding of wildlife and the cat colonies. I think that the additions to the ordinance that were made were very helpful, and I think they're very fair to both people who have concerns about the cats and also people who have concerns about everything from wildlife, the health of their pets, the health of the humans in the community, the cost to individual property owners, and the cost to, say, community associations. So I thank you very much for considering this information. I understand more about trap, neuter, and release than I did several years ago when people in my community tried to introduce it, and it is well-intentioned, but as I've said before, it doesn't always work in all circumstances, and it's very difficult to get organizations such as the one who offered to assist in this to really take care of the situation for everyone in every particular situation. So I thank you very much for your consideration and for the adjustments that you made. Thank you.
My name is Suzanne Apel, and I live at 4 Edward Drive in Franklin Park. I'm here in support for Franklin Township, considering ranked choice voting if enabling legislation passes, joining other forward-thinking New Jersey towns. Ranked choice voting is an upgrade to the way we currently vote, allowing voters to rank their choices in order of true preference instead of being forced into a single choice that may actually work against their preferences. This way, you avoid the effects of spoiler candidates and get true majority support. It can also increase representation of independent candidates, women and people of color in politics, while it can discourage negative attacks as candidates compete for second or third choice vote. In short, I believe it is a fairer system, and using it at the local level could eventually lead to adoption for state elections. Thank you.
Good evening. Bill Connell, 25 Spring Street. Sorry for your loss.
So reading this ordinance, I think it does not take into account human nature. This morning, when I was riding my bike at the intersection of Demont and Easton Avenue, when a traffic light changes, as a matter of survival, I take a couple beats, even after the lights change, to make sure everybody's through the thing. But still, almost on the third beat, somebody ran a light. On the way here, the 7-Eleven has a right-hand turn lane on Hamilton Street, okay? Somebody was taking a left-hand turn onto Hamilton Street, okay, as I'm going on. So, like, they're doing, you know, my intersection is right there. It doesn't take into consideration human nature and the laws. So when I saw the thing about leave your food out for 1 hour, okay, I can't believe it, okay? I think most people are going to put it out and leave it out. And the reason this is important is I personally spent $2,000 plus getting a raccoon out of my attic. My neighbor spent $2,000 getting a raccoon out of their attic. And I had poker at my house one night, and I'm out at midnight in my backyard, and a raccoon, I swear, came up to a chair, stood up, and he could have said, "Pardon me, do you have any Grey Poupon?" He was that close, okay? I have video of this if you'd like to see it. So even though it sounds nice on paper, I think in reality, I think Mr. Johnson kind of stole my thunder on this one. It attracts other things and creates other problems and other messes. So for that reason, I can't support the ordinance. I said, no feeding any animals, period. End of story. And I think that's how the original ordinance was. And you will notice that the people who came from out of town made their remarks, left, and did not stay to listen to your response. Thank you.
Anyone else? Ms. Kulabama, you've already come up.
You've already spoken.
No.
Jane Jesuit, 142 Bennington Parkway, and I'm here about the cats. Franklin Township needs TNR to cut back on the population. The cats are out there, no fault of their own, because people drop them off. I've seen it many times myself. I belong to an organization that finds homes for cats, and I've taken many cats out and gotten them fixed. Call my vet. He's shocked when I keep coming in with cats. We should be able to feed stray cats and then take the food away. It's inhumane, it's heartbreaking, and it's cruel to see these cats walking around shopping centers looking for a little water, a little food. Yeah, I put food out. Somebody comes, a mean person, and he dumps it. Not his property, nothing to do with him. He doesn't like me, and he doesn't like the cats. We need TNR to get control, and we should be able to feed these cats. As I said, it's no fault of their own that they're out there. I've taken many cats out. As I said, I belong to Animal Rescue Force. We find homes for homeless animals. I have a lot of cats myself. I donate to the township. Katie knows me very well and my family. So it's, again, inhumane not to be able to feed these stray cats. As I said, no fault of their own. Spray TNR will cut back on that. And that's it.
Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Ray Quayback, representing East Franklin Fire Department. I'm an assistant chief there. Address, I'll say 121 Pine Grove Avenue. On behalf of Dan Krasinski, our chief, I just wanted to read a letter on him. He's away on vacation. Sorry, his phone was active out. Recently, we learned that the vacated property at 179 Girard Avenue, formerly home to the Franklin Somerset First Aid Squad, has come under the township's control. This building has sat vacant and become an eyesore for residents. We believe this property could serve a broader and more impactful purpose. East Franklin Fire Department would like to pursue a grant funding to renovate the existing structure into living quarters for volunteer firefighters. East Franklin has a strong history of recruiting Rutgers University students who are firefighters in their own hometowns. On average, these students volunteers with us for 4 years while completing their studies. Most of them also tend to stay around as well. Providing safe, secure, and comfortable accommodations for them while on call would directly benefit the township by enhancing volunteer recruitment and retention, improving emergency response times as firefighters living on site could respond more quickly to calls, and maximizing use of an otherwise vacant municipal property, turning it into an asset that serves the community daily. We respectfully ask that the township considers alternatives to use this property solely for storage or another purpose that wouldn't make use of the existing structure and explore this opportunity to strengthen the volunteer firefighting service. I welcome the chance to discuss this proposal in greater detail with you and the council. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Chief Dan Krasinski, East Franklin Fire Department. I just want to add to that. Right now, currently, we have about minimum of 3 to 5 firewomen spending the night at our firehouse, and there's more that are eager to stay and respond adequately. We're just running out of room, and it's impossible for everybody to stay there. So if you guys would, really consider us getting the building, obviously Chief would like to discuss that with you all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? I ask for unanimous consent to close the public portion. Hearing no objection, public portion is closed. Dr. Karazi, you asked to speak about the senior center.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. Ms. Harris and everybody else, we thank you for coming and really appreciate the comments that you made. As a senior myself and also the council liaison to the Senior Advisory Committee, earlier this year we had asked the seniors to give us the list of things that they like to be accomplished. And they gave us 7 items. And I brought it up with the township manager and Mr. Stephen Dahl, which is the director of Park and Recreation. And they looked into it, and I'd like to read those lists to you. And also, I wanted to know whether or not over the past few years, the township has spent any money to make any improvements. So I'd like to give you a few of them that they have done. So at least you will have a good idea that the township really has spent quite a bit of money in improving the senior center. Okay, so let me first go over the list, please. And the first one was the curb cutout near the accessible spaces. And according to Mr. Dahl, this will be done as part of the next concrete project to be completed over this summer. So hopefully before the end of the summer it will be done. And the power washing of the exterior, as you mentioned, and I talked to Bob myself, the township manager. I sat in his office. I said, is it possible to do it? And he explained to me because of the material that they have used, it is not practical and it's very costly and it really doesn't buy much. So that was his comments. And painting of exterior building sign letters will be painted in the next 2 weeks by the Department of Public Work. I don't know whether or not it has been done. Honestly, I have been, okay. So I will definitely follow up that. Okay, let me just finish it. I definitely will follow up on that. So I appreciate I was out a couple of weeks, but I definitely will follow up on that. Meeting room, kitchen floor, and cabinet renovation. I know this is something that we have talked during the advisory board meeting, the senior advisory meeting. And it says flooring was included in 2024 and 2025 capital budget and has been scheduled. Kitchen will be done first, and meeting rooms will be done during winter holidays when no senior meetings are scheduled. So hopefully will be done before the end of the year. Again, these are the notes I'm reading from him, so we're going to keep him responsible for these notes so he can deliver it, right? So landscaping, it says landscaping was trimmed. We do not have manpower for decoration flowers and planting. And the next one was landscaping, bench placement in Grosso Grove. And again, he says that they're working on ordering 10 of them, and it will be done. And it says that they're starting the cleanup and restoration of pathway next week. So again, I don't know if whether or not it has been done. I will look into it again myself. I will talk to Mr. Dahl. We'll walk through it, and in the next meeting, definitely we'll give an update. The last one was the lobby lighting update, and it says new bulbs have been ordered for all lights out in the lobby. Project to replace all lobby lighting will have to be included in 2026 capital budget. Now, as I mentioned, I asked also to give us some idea on some of the improvements that they have made. And so he sent me a list of it, and I want to just take a couple of minutes to read it. All air conditioning and handler units, it costs $400,000. Entire roof, $250,000. All carpeting, $60,000. Resurface stage for $20,000. Handicapped card access door to meeting room, $15,000. All new exterior doors, $50,000. New stove oven, $10,000. New refrigerator, $5,000. All new LED light bulbs throughout building, $2,500. New exterior lighting, $4,500. All new boilers, $400,000. Backup generator, $80,000, and new window blinds, $30,000. So as you can see, the township has spent quite a bit money. I don't think you can ask questions, I'm sorry, but we can talk it, outside. And I'm sorry, you're not hearing me?
No, I'd like the folks to hear that there's two parts to the senior center. One is the rec department, and all of the things that you're talking about, carpeting and new things that was done because they had a flood on that side. Our side has not received all of that.
Okay, I can't.
Okay, so I'm just telling you, based on what he has written to me, he said that these are the replacement upgrades in the senior community center. That's what he says. But regardless, as I said, I share your frustration. I've been there. I've heard all of you and myself that I've seen the progress is not being made as we would like to be made. And we will continue pushing. I thank you for coming. I thank you, everybody. You need to come and speak up, and we will continue pushing. And hopefully before the end of the year, you will see some good results. I don't know why we get in that one, but thank you so much again. But we'll talk definitely. I will make sure that I will also talk to Mr. Stephen Dahl. Okay.
Ma'am, I let you speak once, and I shouldn't have.
I will talk to you outside as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. The ambulance situation. So I have a little story. First of all, I'm sorry for your loss. I have a little story. It must have been 10 years ago. My wife had excruciating pain, called the ambulance. I was at JFK Hospital at the time. I made it before the ambulance to my home. That normally takes me 33 minutes in the driving. I'm sure I did it in well under that, but I was aghast about that, and changes were made. I am a physician, but clearly your emergency response expertise outweighs mine. I haven't been to an ER in 5 years, but you raised some good points. I don't have answers right now, but we will get answers. And I appreciate you coming in. I don't know. Council, should I discuss the cats now or wait till the cat ordinance?
I think we should wait till the cat ordinance, Mayor. We all might have.
All right.
commentary for that.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Guy, I couldn't understand all that you were saying, but when you talked about the budget and the rescue money, you talked about the surplus. A lot of people don't understand the surplus. They think of it as the way the federal government uses the word surplus. Not that we've had one in a long time, but it's the amount of money left over that year. We try to not say the word surplus. It is a word that's used for that account. We try to say fund balance. The best way that I can put it is it's our bank account. So it's still there. The 20 million is still there. When it got up to 26 million, we spent it down. We bought equipment, et cetera, but we keep the 20 million there just in case. So like when COVID was here and the state said you can delay your property tax payment from August to September, a lot of towns were fidgety and restless, and they didn't know what to do because they didn't have money. They took out bridging loans to cover that. We didn't blink. We said yes. That money also gets us better ratings when we go out to bond. It keeps us so that when there's funds we need one year, we can carry it over and use that money there in ways to save us from getting bridging loans. In short, council has decided to have that money available, and the Financial Oversight Committee came up with the $20 million idea. The accountant that we use said you should absolutely not go below 10 million. You'd be in danger. He feels safer with 20 million. So that money's still there and will stay there, hopefully, as long as we can keep it. We use that money to help reduce taxes every year. The amount that it goes over 20 million, we use that to reduce taxes. I'll get to taxes in a little bit. So that's why that money is there. I'll jump to the fire department. Tonight, council, we're voting on the acquisition of the first aid squad that has been abandoned. We're not deciding on, well, what to do with it. So we have time to consider what the gentleman was speaking about. All right, let me jump to taxes. Mr. Walker, I want to break protocol. First, so everything about how much your tax was and how much your assessment was is public domain. But that's public domain as in if someone comes and asks for it, they can see it, or you can see it. It'd be different if I talked about it in a council meeting publicly. I want your permission to do that, to take up the specifics of your taxes. No, I mean discuss what your assessment was. Okay, and you can come to the mic now so we can discuss it. If you'd like, we can do that. Well, I want to discuss the taxes. If you want to do it that way, would you like to come up? So I'm taking leeway here. If council doesn't want me to do it this way, I won't.
That's fine.
Mr. Walker doesn't want his address, so if this guy is okay with that, let him do it.
No, it's okay. She doesn't need
No.
it. Mr. Guy, please.
Mr. Guy, let me run the meeting. Thank you. So, I'm sorry, tell me your address again. 128.
128 Selby Court.
Yeah, I got it.
Selby.
And just to confirm, you're okay if the mayor shows your house and the details of your taxes last year to this year publicly here and for the video cameras to 70,000 residents?
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
no problem.
Okay. Can you give me the screen? And send me that number again, please.
128.
No. All right, so I hope you can see this up on the screen, but
I'm sorry, I cannot see that.
Go closer.
I have you can take that mic with you if you want. But I have a tool that I created. It's essentially a Excel spreadsheet, but it's available on the internet, and I'll give the URL for it in a bit. But your assessment last year was $365,200. Your assessment this year was $434,700. So that's an increase of $69,000 or 19%. So your tax assessment went up 19%. Mr.
I have questions for how you count that money. I count from last year, I got the bill. There was this the payment. I added
No, we're talking about something different. You're talking about your tax payment. He's talking about your tax assessment.
I'm talking about your assessment.
Oh, okay.
The assessment of your property value.
Okay.
The value of your property went up.
Okay.
Mr. Dominic, how much did, so, okay, I'll try to. So it was assessed this year at $434,700. I'll try to zoom in, but then I'm going to have to be scrolling around.
You could take your mic with you and go over there. You can see it. I know it's a little small, but you can take the mic with you. You can take the mic with you. Yeah, so you can see it when he's zooming in.
A rock star.
Okay, so your assessment went up by almost $70,000. But the assessment is $434. According to Realtors.com, Realtors.com, the assessment was 409, or their estimate of the value of your house is 490,000. So your house may be worth even more than the assessor said. The assessments are not.
I know that. Yeah.
Assessments are not a appraisal. There's a difference between the two of them. An assessment is supposed to be within 15% of the actual value, and my assessor assures me that he hits that every year with an overwhelming majority of the houses. So your assessment went up 19%. That's highlighted there. Your property tax went from $6,600 to $7,500, a $920 increase, or 13.9%. Yes, that's a lot, and I understand you being shocked. But let's look at, you've come to this body to talk about the tax, and someone said, why are you raising taxes so much? By you, I assume you meant council. But let's look at what council did. Last year, council was 14% of your total tax bill. That's what this column over here is saying. This year, it was 13.5% of your total tax bill. What that means is the amount, our taxes went up in town. There's no doubt about it. I'm not trying to say they didn't. But that means that all the other taxes went up more, maybe not all the other taxes, but the average of all the other taxes went up more than the township tax went up, because our percentage of your tax bite went down by 0.5%. Your, as I said, your tax, not as I've said, I'm sorry. The council portion or the township portion of your bill was $931 last year. This year, it's $1,017. So there is school money you paid to the schools, money you paid to the county. That's to the town, what you paid to the town. And when I say municipal tax.
Hold on.
When I say municipal tax, I am not including open space or library or fire. Township Council has no control of those. The library is set by the state. The open space tax was set by voter referendum. Fire is by its own election. If the fire district, if people vote down the budget, then council gets involved. But unless they vote down the budget, council can't get involved. So the council portion or the local municipal portion in 2024 was $931. This year, it was $1,017. That's an increase of $85.94, $86. So if you look at that, though, your assessment went up, and and we increased the levy. We increased the amount that we were.
I don't understand how you calculate this based on each year. I'm accounting based on the bill. The last bill for payment added 6,520. Now you are counting from the January to the December, the whole year. But
your payment increase.
The bill is from the August. Every August you give a full payment bill. I'm accounting from that timeline. I'm not counting from January.
Sir, so the payment that you send to the.
Before you go, you're missing his point. He's still lumping all the taxes together, not breaking it apart. So
that's how I pay money.
I understand.
How I count how much increase for that payment.
So I'm sorry, I'm just the attorney, so I just want to see maybe if I can put this in a little bit more of a context. I understand what your tax bill is. You're exactly right. You add up the 4 quarters and you get a total number, and it's more than it was last year. We understand that. I think what the point that the mayor's trying to show you here is that it's not, you've come here to the council and you've said, I get a bill from you, Township. Why did you raise my taxes? I think what we're trying to show you is your taxes, the part of your taxes that these folks are responsible for is about 13.5%, just a little less than 14%. Most of your taxes so all the rest of your taxes get paid to the Board of Education, to the county, to the fire districts. There's open space taxes that the people voted on. There's library taxes. So when you come here and you say, what are you going to do about lowering my taxes? The part of your tax bill that's controlled by this council is only 14% of it. And the lion's share of the increase that you saw from year to year is not from the council. And I think that's the point that the mayor's trying to demonstrate to you by showing you these figures and how it is that it breaks down. So we're not telling you your taxes didn't go up. What we're telling you is that you're here, but there is, maybe you should be at the Board of Education, or maybe you should be at the county asking them why it is that they raise your taxes, because they're a bigger chunk of your tax bill. The unfortunate part of the way taxes are structured in New Jersey, and it's unfortunate for council, is that, in Florida, there's a county tax collector. You get your bill from the county. You live in Collier County, the Collier County tax collector sends you a bill. You never get a bill from the city of Naples for whatever they do. In New Jersey, it's reversed. The municipalities all send out the tax bills, and we send you a tax bill that you get one number, but it's made up of 5 or 6 different taxing entities that aren't controlled by the council. We can't tell the county what to do. We can't tell the Board of Education what to do. The fire districts, as the mayor said, if their budget gets defeated, which rarely happens, it comes back to us. So there's not a whole lot we can do about it. So that's all we're trying to say. This is just informational. Nobody's arguing with you. We understand. The great part about this day of information is, while you were talking, I pulled up your tax history on the township's site. It's right there.
Oh, okay.
I click on your address. I can tell you what you paid, and I can tell you what you paid every year. I also know, by the way, that over the course of the last 5 years, your total taxes actually went up and down a few years. There were some years where so that's a function of it. The other part about this, which is and I hate to make it more complicated, and I think the mayor was trying to explain to you, is the amount of the budgets that get set by all of these districts is only one part of what you get taxed. If your property goes up in value more than other properties in the town, you're going to shoulder a larger part of the tax burden. It is a function of the way New Jersey taxes people. It's an awful system that's part of our Constitution, and there's a resolution on later tonight kind of imploring the legislature to do something about it. But it is the way it works. The other part about it is, if folks don't mind me saying, there's actually help on the way. There's a program called Stay NJ that next year will actually, I believe that it will cut senior citizens' taxes by 50% up to $6,500. So it's a program that is funded, and it was sponsored a number of years ago, and it's now been funded, and it'll go into effect for 2026. So the real tax relief, that's where it comes from. And I think that what you'll see in the resolution that's here is part of the argument for decreasing the property tax burden is to try to share it over. Essentially, there's a state sales tax and a state income tax, but the property tax is very regressive because no matter how much money you make, you pay your property tax on the value of your property. The income tax at least is indexed to how much money you actually make, so it's a percentage of your income. So I think that that's the tax fairness part of it. But Mayor, I don't know if I overstepped my bounds here.
No, you were very clear.
Okay,
thank you. That is the point I'm trying to make, is that we're responsible for, I'll go to the punchline here, $24.50 of your increase. You're here talking about, I know you had a $920 increase, but of what we are responsible for, what we had the power to do, if we did 0% increase, we could control $24.51 of your tax bill. Now, you'll see your tax, your municipal tax actually went up $85.94, but $61 of that was due to the assessment going up. Unfortunately, residential assessments went up more than commercial assessments. There have been years that that's been reversed, and your taxes have been held down for it. But residential assessments are residential prices, property values have skyrocketed. I should have started with the way I usually start this discussion. Property taxes is a stupid way to tax people, especially a stupid way to tax our schools, or to collect money for our schools. It should be that if you have more money available, if you have the means to pay more, you should pay more. But if you don't have the means to pay more, you shouldn't. Unfortunately, you could be land rich and cash poor, and you're going to get a tax the way they do it now. So as the attorney said, there's a resolution on this agenda to ask the state legislature to change the way we do taxes, to abolish the property tax and go to a means-based tax, because because it's just not fair the way they do it now. But in defense of council, what we did, our actions increased your tax bill by $24.51. The other problem that happened besides the increase in assessments that I've mentioned is our schools, and I put that over here, our schools were told that where they normally are limited to 2% increase, they were allowed to increase by 11% because they were underfunded by sticking to the 2% for a decade. So in one fell swoop, they go up 10.7%, and they are 61% of your taxes. So 10% of 61% is a huge increase. So on someone who's paying a total of a $900 increase, $429 of it went to the schools, specifically to the schools due to their levy increase. So I'm just, as the attorney said, we are responsible for 2.6% increase, excuse me, a 2.6% increase. $24.51 is all we had control. So I guess I've said it enough times, but there are things out of our hands, but people, and certainly you will hear it this year, there will be a group of people trying to make it seem like all $920 was due to council. In your case, $24.51 was due to council. Now, if people want to look at this setup, you can go to tiny URL. Let's see, I'll zoom in more on that.
Do that again?
I'm going to say it.
There you go.
You can see it here up in blue at the top of the spreadsheet. tinyurl.com/Franklin Tax 2025 E as in Edward, Z as in zebra, 2, EZ2. And at the top of that, all you have to do is put in the address you want to look up, and it will come up with this breakdown of taxes. Just beware when you're doing it on the web, it's very slow. You'll click on the address bar, and it will take several seconds before it seems like you clicked on it. If you download it to an Excel spreadsheet, it's virtually instantaneous. But I hope, I feel for you for the amount that you're increasing in taxes, but unfortunately, you're coming to a body, a taxing entity that really has very little control of the taxes that you pay. There are forces that are beyond us, the school board being one of them, that we just have no control of.
And Mayor, if I could just ask, you mentioned that this past increase in the municipal budget was 2.6%, which is under inflation. In the last 4 years, have we kept our spending under inflation, or what was it been relative to inflation?
So in the last 4 years, our cumulative increase in what we are our levy, the amount that we collect in taxes, is up 11%. That's over the last 4 years, starting from a baseline of 2021. It went up 1%, 1%. Last year was 6%, and this year is 2.6%. That works out to 11%. The inflation over that time was 8%, 12.4%, 15.8%. I'm sorry, those are the cumulatives. Start again. They were 8%, 4.1%, 3%, and this year so far it's 2.1%. That's a total of 18.2%. So we've gone up the amount that we're collecting in taxes 11%. That's not on this spreadsheet. Don't be looking up there. This is a separate thing I've done. So we've gone up 11%, and inflation has gone up 18.2%. Since I took office, we've gone, as mayor, we've gone up 13.5%, and inflation has gone up 35%, less than half of inflation. So we're doing our job here. we're keeping the amount of money that we're asking from you down, but the stupid way that New Jersey does taxes is biting you where you don't want to be bit. And I feel for you. People are hurting with this inflation situation we're in, but we have no control of it. And anyone who, in this election year, makes it seem like we do, is trying to pull one over on you.
And Mayor, just one more thing. We don't have control over the tax assessor.
Right.
The answer's to the county.
And if I may
I just want to clarify that because we get asked that question.
Yes, he answers to the county tax board.
Completely independent, yes.
Correct.
And you want it to be that way, because if I like you but I don't like you, then I could tell the assessor what to do. And he is buffered from us so that we can't tell him what to do or how to do it. If you ask him, you can ask him what I've said to him about it. The only thing I've ever said to him is make sure he's fair. Another myth that's out there is we increase the assessments so that we can get more money. Well, first of all, we don't get more money. We get the amount of money that when we raise taxes, when we raise the levy, the amount to be collected by from the taxpayers, that we get that amount of money. The tax rate is adjusted in such a way that it takes into account the assessments so that we get the amount of money we ask for. If you're thinking of the greedy politician who's trying to get more money, well, the greedy politician doesn't want more money. The greedy politician wants to get reelected. And the way he gets reelected is by, or she, is by keeping the taxes down and providing more services. So just getting more money so you can provide more services doesn't get you anywhere. It's trying to keep taxes down and provide more services. And that's part of the issue with the senior center. We're trying to keep taxes down, but you want more services. And I don't blame you. That's your job. Our job is to try to find the balance, and hopefully we can. So, sir, I hope that explains to you why your taxes went up.
I understand your explanation, but I'm still not satisfied.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
And that's why one of the last things we're voting on today is to send a letter to our state legislators and copying our governor that this has got to stop. They've got to change the way they tax. And that way people who can afford it, because if you do it by means, then if you retire or you lose your job, then you don't have to pay as much. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it's this increase that actually it's my house value is increased, but I don't sell my house.
Right, it's an unrealized gain.
It's just increased that
It's like having to pay money on if you have stocks, your stock goes up, but you don't have that money in your pocket and you have to pay on it. So that's an unrealized gain, and it's wrong. And that's why we're asking for it to be changed.
Okay, thank you very much for your explanation.
No, thank you.
And
Thank
it
you for
might
letting
be
us share.
worthwhile- Mr. Mayor, it may be a good time to also mention that we have a town hall meeting on the 21st, and the assessor will be there as well, and somebody from the tax department will be there. So please come and bring your questions, and also there will be more information given on that day, on the 21st of August at 7 o'clock here. No, not Board of Ed. Yeah. The Board of Ed, you need to go to their board and their meetings and bring it up. That way they can hear everybody's, basically they are there and they can hear your story. But this is a good educational, we call it Tax Talk 101, so please come.
So just because you asked that question, I just want to say, on the Board of Education hearing on their budget approval, that 11%, Mayor was alluding to, from the council, Deputy Mayor Odine and myself went and spoke against raising taxes that much. But I'm not in the board. The board voted the budget approval, so. No, we don't have. Out of there are 7 line items on the taxes. Only one of them, which is a municipal tax, we have jurisdiction. The other 6, we have zero control.
They meet on I believe it's the 4th Thursday of the month.
Correct.
What I think you should do is everyone there is figure out what, on that screen, figure out exactly where you are on your taxes, so that when you come in, you know what your tax is. You know what you don't, how to figure it out, so that when he starts writing on the board, you're not in the dark. You know exactly where each line is. That way, everyone else can waste their time, but you're going to know exactly what's going on. So again, if you don't come in like that, you're going to waste your time because you're going to be lost. Okay?
All right. I think we've beat that to death. That's all I had to comment on.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Walker, Mr. Walker talked about his letter, and thank you very much. We received your letter, Mr. Walker. We haven't forgotten. We are having some discussion. At least some of us have seen it. We have some ideas that we are sharing among us, and rest assured that we will get back to you on that.
One second. Now, every time we come to a council meeting, I say one thing. Why does everybody get up and leave? Because we're about to spend your money, we're about to make an ordinance, and you're going to say, well, I didn't know about that. So you're going to get up and leave. And the next time taxes roll around, they're going to come see me and say, well, Carl, why my taxes go up? Or Carl, why did they get a cat ordinance? If you don't stay, you're going to miss it. I'm not telling you to come every single, watch us on TV, but we're spending your money here. And y'all got to stick around. That's all. And I do it almost every meeting. People get up and go. That's all. I'm sorry to break up in there. I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor, 2 quick things from the public comment. Mr. Guy, the municipality, this township, does not have a local application for cannabis, so there's nothing to give back. And the council made that decision because of the extraordinary costs that the state charges, the CRC charges, and they didn't want to further burden anyone who was coming here. So there's nothing to give back. The other thing, Bill, wake up, making sure you're okay. The next time you want to get rid of a raccoon, I'll save you $2,000. You just call me, okay?
But you are free to leave if you want to. I think Carl would like you to stay. He wants to be liked like all of us, but you don't have to if you have somewhere to be or the bathroom or dinner or your family.
Oh, he calls me on the phone. This is okay. He calls me on the phone.
Vince, the raccoon slayer. Okay. I think we've responded. Did you have any more responses, Mr. Dominic?
No.
Okay. And now we have council comments. I'll let Mr. Wright go first.
Real quick, did somebody talk about that garden over there at Parkside?
About the what?
About the garden over there at Parkside?
Is your mic on?
Put your mic on.
I got a problem with the garden at Parkside, and this is how it goes. If you've been there for 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years, it goes like this. And you can ask Johnny Tibbs this, because he was here. RPM, who runs the building, put in the parks, put in the garden. Now, every year we go out and we see, and I know for a fact because I put the flyers as you walk out the building on that right-hand side, you'll see a flyer about that community garden. No one said anything. I even went down to the Housing Authority, and the chairman is Ike Agadosi. I said, Ike, anybody talk about something? Anybody has a gripe? Sometimes nobody shows up. So it's just the administration that shows up. And by the way, our administrator is only part-time, because when we were there, I said, why are we paying for a full-time when we can go part-time? And that's exactly what we did. So I'm saying, if you're talking about that garden, yeah, we brought somebody else in to that garden.
Ma'am,
oh.
That building for that garden, we're talking about the grove.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute. I know all about this little puppy because I was there. But in the future, I'm letting you know, brought in a whole new team because the garden was sitting there. It went to waste. They came in and actually did something better. That's all it was. Okay? So I just figured, throw that out there.
Ma'am, we can't talk. Thank you very much.
For the redevelopment agency of which I'm chairman, we haven't had a meeting because we're waiting for RPM to come back with a couple plans. And those plans will include affordable housing, market rate housing, and voucher housing. So we're waiting for that mix to come back so we can move ahead. Land use, four of us on land use here, haven't had a meeting because we haven't done anything because people haven't come back with the plans. Now, we do have one little piece of property, and one of the things, oh, hell, go through the whole thing. We got a whole bunch of places that we want to put affordable housing all over the place. But the one thing that I did was I didn't want more kids in my neighborhood. Why? Because it happens that every time we do housing or affordable housing, it seems that we get all the kids. And that's not fair. So in movement with that affordable housing, I said, we're going to put it all over town. We're not just going to put it in my backyard. Okay? So we're looking for one parcel where it has senior citizens and veterans. Okay? So that's what we're going to do in part so that children will be over on this side, that side. But I didn't want them in my backyard because we have enough kids. And everyone will start screaming, why do we have all the kids? Why do we have all the affordable housing in the 4th Ward? Okay, y'all be the first one to fire me up about that. Now, another little thing that bothered me, and I went through it, and did anybody ever go out and vote for their fire district? Because the mayor mentioned it about that fire district, and I don't see no hands going up. And the reason why I say that, that's part of your taxes. But nobody y'all blew off the fire district. The mayor only went 30 seconds with it. Our township attorney went 5 seconds with it. So again, some of that stuff you need to be aware of. Some of y'all didn't go to the Board of Education meeting when they went up and ratcheted up your taxes. You gotta go. You gotta look. You gotta see. So that being said, I'm gonna get off my soapbox and leave it to Ed.
Councilmember Potasnik.
Thank you. The next school board meeting for the Board of Education is August 28th. It's at 6:30 p.m. at the Board Administrative Complex over on Route 27, otherwise formerly known as Consolata Missions. And I strongly encourage folks to go there and speak with them. The top 5 issues in any election year, or in really any year for citizens, elected officials like ourselves, are taxes, followed by taxes, followed by taxes, followed by taxes, and then closing out with taxes. And this council has done a tremendous job to keep the portion we control under the rate of inflation. The mayor sort of falsely estimated over his time as mayor about half, but by my math, it was a third of the rate of inflation. And that takes a lot of work. It takes patience. It takes some creativity to look at how we can get grant funds, how we can work with other government agencies for shared services so we don't have duplication, and we can streamline some of those things to keep costs low. We're looking at healthcare to ensure that we self-insure, because healthcare costs are really going up very quickly. Working with the Board of Education on an educational, a health wellness center to keep medical costs down. So there's a lot of things that we're doing to get to that place. It's sort of magical, and it's not happening most places. It doesn't take away the sting from the other portion of the taxes that we don't control. We're all experiencing that. The mayor pointed out to me that my assessment, the part that's unrealized gains, went up 69 out of 20,000 households. That's what my house went up. So I feel you're paying directly as well. And in my house, we had a lot of drama around these very issues. And the mayor, he's an engineer, so the spreadsheet might have been overwhelming, but he took my frustration out by walking me through to better understand how it connects. It doesn't mean that it's acceptable per se, but it helps you understand, because it's really overwhelming. And so those of you who listen to that tonight and go to the tax town hall will get a chance to understand more about each of those parts, because I understood our 2.6 part. I didn't understand how it became 30% increase year over year for my family. And the last thing I'll say is, with relation to the school board, I'm the liaison to the schools. There is sort of a history to what has happened with school budgets. Under Chris Christie, he instituted something called a 2% tax cap. That 2% tax cap has not kept up with inflation. And that has left school districts way underfunded. And they recently went and said, we're going to do a new calculation and tell you how adequate are the taxpayer contributions to the total cost of students. And our school district fell short significantly. They could have increased spending up to 18% in addition to their 2%, so a total of 20. They took a more modest number. You can take it up with them. That was ultimately their decision. The governor gave them a one-time chance to do that without voter approval. And I'll just say, in my personal opinion, it's a political view, that should have been spaced out over years, that deficit built up, not in 1 year, that our families are now having to see that jump. We don't control that. We're not the governor. We didn't write that letter. So talking to your school board is helpful, because they're going to maybe be faced with decisions like this in the future and start to plan for that. And I will say, as former school board president and being on the school board, not enough people go to those meetings, and they are very interested in hearing from you. They care a lot about how these impacts both impact the education of our students, our future, right? They're going to take care of us, and also taxpayers that are footing the bill in a weird system that we're going to speak to a little bit more. I am proud of what council's been able to do to keep spending low, and equally frustrated with the escalation, particularly in this year, that's compounded along with the school board increases. And I think all of us share in your pain and appreciate folks coming tonight to talk about it. But I'd also close by just saying, don't be misled by folks who want to paint with a broad brush and say this body was responsible for the decisions of the school board, 60-something% of the taxes that you pay, because that's what happens in campaign season, and it's just not true. It's dishonest. And we'll work together, and we'll find ways to help the schools save money too. And we've done a lot of that. And I can go on, but I'll leave it at that. I think the mayor did a great job with the details, and there's more details to be learned at the town hall. But we care deeply, and that's why we've been able to keep our rate of spending under inflation. And we hope to continue to be able to do that, because that's our commitment to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, I think the attorney was more articulate than I was. I may be able to crunch numbers better than he, but he can say the lines better than I. Councilman Vassanella.
I'm going to pick right up on that point, Mayor. I didn't really plan on speaking about taxes.
No, speak poorly?
No, just hear me out. more complimentary than that. No, seriously, I didn't plan on speaking about taxes, but I think I just want to mention two things that haven't been mentioned. So first of all, whether by volunteer, I'm trying to think a little outside the box here, whether by volunteer program or by state regulation, we have an opportunity when people purchase a home, whatever it is, you have a closing. There's certain documents that are part of any kind of real estate transaction or closing process. Not to get into the details, but I don't know why we don't have some pamphlet that both takes the mayor's approach and our attorney's approach and spells out exactly what a homeowner should know, because this is not a problem unique to Franklin. Quite frankly, I think we do better here in Franklin than most towns, and I've done the research. But it's a mess. Taxes are a mess. And the only time people seem to get interested, and it's human nature, is when it goes up, and when it goes up a lot. And as described, a lot of it is not easily understood. Most of us up here have learned over the years because of having to deal with tax increases. So I believe it would be helpful for people to understand all the taxing entities, who controls the taxing entities, and how to be able to plug in. Maybe they take something like the mayor did and make it statewide. You should be able to easily understand how the biggest expense you have by government will play out as a homeowner. So I don't want to keep on going on, but I think there's room there to be had, because half the people that came to talk about taxes may still have been disgusted, but they would have been aware of how this happened and the few tools available to them to counter tax increases. They may have been able to may have been able to utilize and be more aware and maybe have made a little difference. I'm not putting it on anybody here. The point is we have to give the tools as a state. We have to give the tools for people to be aware of the biggest governmental expense in their lives if they are indeed homeowners, and even renters, because some of that's passed along through the landlords, etc. So that, plus the second thing, I think they do a great job. I don't think they do a perfect job, as no government department or agency does. Our tax assessments are a lot of science and a little bit of art. And at the end of the day, regardless of what we do, keep no tax increase, mega tax increase. At the end of the day, your personal assessment is what's going to drive your final tax bill. So I've been surprised, I've been wrong, I've been right when I've gone, whether it's mine or other people's assessments, and said, whoa, how did that go up? Point is, look into it. My understanding, at least my experience as a citizen, not as a councilman, they're very friendly and helpful at the tax offices that give you the information. They need to justify the increase in an assessment. Again, most of the times they're correct, but they're not correct all the time. And I implore people, it's not an easy process, but it's not an impossible process. Appeal your taxes if you did your research and you believe you've been overassessed. Appeal your taxes. So that's another part of this equation that isn't talked about too much, but just keep those two things in mind. But overall, the state, hopefully, Trenton did a heck of a thing with this stay in New Jersey, and I think most people, I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there, most people 65 and older will be smiling and be able to stay without the burdens of being taxed out of their homes. So now, and I'm hopeful that the State House will now attack the other thing that we're doing a resolution on and come up with a different way to figure out taxes as far as funding our school system specifically. So it stinks, but this stay in New Jersey, which hopefully we'll do in a town hall so that people will be able to take advantage of what will be a 50% decrease for many of the seniors in this town. That's incredible. Again, And that's happening starting 26, but I think there's paperwork you have to file this fall to be able to get it next year. So separate from the town hall we're doing to explain, and I think it should be 2 separate town halls, we should do an instructional, because if you file that paperwork right, you get a major tax deduction. And now they got to keep everybody under 65 staying in New Jersey, or smiling. Maybe we should call it smiling in New Jersey. So, sorry to be so long-winded. And I have more to talk about with taxes, but tonight is not the appropriate time or forum. That being said, a couple of quick things. There's devils in the details, or the devil's in the details, or whatever the expression is, but hopefully there'll be a possibility for that vacated rescue squad to be used in a productive way, perhaps to house any volunteers. Again, there's a lot of details. And I know that we're not going to get into it as a discussion, but the first aid squad that has been vacated, there's families still in this town that were responsible for starting it, I think, back in the 50s. I remember going to their 50th anniversary celebration. But I want to thank any families and any people that were involved or related to the people involved with doing something strictly on a volunteer basis that literally saved hundreds of lives in this township, in my ward and in my neighborhood. So I hope, I know sometimes there's internal squabbles and disagreements, but we have, all the firehouses in our town, but especially community in East Franklin that have done God's work, in my opinion. So I hope that whatever happens there will further enhance our response services. And I'll throw one last thing out there. The only firefighter in the history of Franklin Township to ever die in the line of duty was one of the students that was talked about, that, they're there saving lives in Franklin. Unfortunately, he lost his life in saving others. Anyway, real quickly, National Night Out, great event. I think it was covered in the press, and anybody who didn't get a chance, try going to it next year. It's a pretty cool event. It's in the beginning of August, so it's not the best time. People are away, but if you're around, check it out. And our great first responders also, as many of you probably read, saved a stranded water skier. I thought I'd seen everything, but in the middle of the Raritan River, and they should be proud, all of the groups that were involved in that. Thank you. Last thing, sorry. 2 quick meetings. Shade Tree meeting, I actually was sick and not able to attend, but two main issues that came out of there, ongoing issues, but we're looking at Franklin's first, I'm going to call it little mini reforestation project to start getting the canopy that we're losing every day, our tree canopy, to start increasing it, especially in the 4th and 5th wards where it's been shown that it's a real quality of life issue. So I think Open Space will be reviewing it, and hopefully that project will move forward and set an example for more projects like that in our town and hopefully even other towns. Last thing, the Public Works meeting today. We haven't had one in a couple months, so we got an update on all these projects. I'm not going to go into them because I think you can link to all of them on our township website. I will mention a couple things. Roads, there's a few projects we're bumping to. They've been funded, but just time-wise because of weather, we'll be doing them in the spring of '26, and the details are on our online. I can say that last year, we did all of the roads, record amount of road repaving. The only reason we're not finishing it all this year and some are being bumped to the spring is because this year we did a record amount of rebuilding our water infrastructure. I know something was asked about the infrastructure money or COVID money. Well, we put $4 million, and most of it, I can proudly say, has been spent, the bulk of it in the 5th ward and the 4th ward, to redo the oldest water system, part of the water system in our township. So Lots going on. Please go on the website. We have infrastructure projects. Mr. Wright isn't here. He stepped out of the room. But we're actually starting to get close to finishing what is a decade-long sidewalk project, and there's a handful of them that will be done this fall, too. So go online if you're interested. There's neighborhoods all over town that are getting major upgrades, infrastructure below and above ground. And I think that is it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Kimberly Francois.
I'm going to make a few points. First, I want to talk about the senior center. So that building was built and opened up the doors back in 1998. And the only reason why I know that because I was the mayor back then. So we're talking about 27 years. The building is about 27 years old. I was taken aback by Agnes coming up here talking because I sit on the housing authority with her. She's never said anything to me about problems with the senior center. Clearly, we have to continue to do more and more improvements. And thank you, Dr. Karazi, for being the senior center liaison and knowing what we've given that report tonight to talk about what we've done over there from a aesthetic purpose. Now, when we start talking about providing meals for seniors, that was something that, we wanted to provide programs, but we never really talked about providing meals for seniors. So that's something that's very interesting. But we've been spending a lot of time tonight talking about increase in taxes. Well, providing meals is clearly would be an expense, which would be a burden on the tax rate as well. So, we have to look at, we can't, it's kind of like we can't, Burger King, you can't have it your way. So we have to really think about how we can, if we could provide meals, what would that be in terms of our budget and funding and where we're going to take that money out of the tax rate. So that's something to talk about. We've never really ever talked about providing meals. What we wanted to do was to provide a building, a safe place for seniors to go and enjoy and have some activities and recreation. And we want to keep that building up to code standards, and we want to make sure, it's enjoyable for the seniors that are there. So thank you for staying on top of that. And quite frankly, some of us were blindsided by hearing some, because I haven't been over there in a long time. But anyway, that's all I have to say about the senior center. Also, I wanted to mention that it was brought up before that there is a Week of the People event coming up this Saturday from 2 to 5 over in Neiman Williams Park. We do it every year. This year it's our 54th celebration. So for 54 years straight, we've had the Week of the People event. We do it mainly, we give out free prizes, we give out book bags. Thank God we have the PBA from Franklin that donates book bags and gives us materials and stuff in the book bags. And the kids line up and their parents line up and we give out book bags. And we've run out of book bags because there's always a need for that. We give out free food, we give out free ice cream, hamburgers, hot dogs, we have free music. And we also have the youth provide free entertainment, which they seem to love. And I also hope that our council will come over that day as well, and enjoy the festivities as well. So free, and it's a nice community event for everybody. We're hoping the weather is not too hot. It doesn't look like rain, so we should be good. The other thing I wanted to mention, you talked about, Mr. Guy, about workforce development. So just want to say a few things about that, because I know you and I have talked about this a couple times. We did a based on the fact that the council was it voted and approved American Rescue Funds for the adult program for construction. We completed that program at Consolata in June. We had over 15 people graduate from that program. We took a pause during the summertime, and we're planning on reenacting that program for the fall, for the adults. We know that we have $150,000 that's left from the ARC funding, and we also know we have $90,000 left from the CDBG Social Services Grant. We plan on using that money, because if we don't use it, we're going to lose it. So I know I've talked to you about this a couple different times. I have a meeting scheduled with Dr. Solomon on Friday at 2 o'clock. I will talk to him as well. So I'm committed to getting that program up and running like I did for the fall, like we did in the school system. So, we don't have to keep talking about the program. We are going to get that program done. Okay, so That's all I have to say. And Rob, I don't know if you, during your comments, you want to talk about.
Say that, but thank you.
Okay. And then one more thing I want to mention is it was brought up tonight by Javon Walter, that he was interested in the Municipal Alliance and also the Cultural Arts Council. It was also brought up tonight by Elam Okansi, that you're interested in the Hamilton Street Advisory Board. So we do not have a position open for the Hamilton Street Advisory Board because you have to be a residential property owner, of which you are not. So that's not a slot that's open and available for you. But we are looking to fill that vacancy. For Javon Walker, we can certainly appoint you to the Municipal Alliance tonight. You have your forms in. We could do that. Or if you're interested, would you be interested in the cultural arts, or are you more interested in Municipal Alliance? Because we could do one or the other.
Do I have to have a choice? If you give me the option, I'll take it.
You want both? Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll see how council feels about that tonight. That's all I have to say, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Embarrasson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let me be brief in my comments. I was with the mayor and council member at Potasnik on the 42nd RSG farewell ceremony. It was a wonderful program. They did that in Franklin this year. So the Franklin School Board gave the auditorium and hosted them. So it was a very nice event. It was great to see the people serve our country and be recognized. And then there was another event at the Franklin Middle School. It's a National Health Center Week that I attended. So that's an interesting part that I wanted to talk about today. It is for the community health centers that are throughout the country are celebrating our community health week. So that's, I don't know if you all heard about this. Part of the ARP money we assigned to build a community health center right in the Franklin Middle School campus. Zufall is going to administer that and run it, and it's going to be starting out with only for the children that go into the school, and then it's gradually going to expand to others, parents and the other neighborhood people in the whole town at some point. We are very proud that we were able to get the community health center built there from the ARP money. It's going for a good cause, and ongoing costs are not going to be part of the council's budget. It's completely run by the school board and the Zufall through grants and other funding mechanism. It's a great community service, and the building is brand new. It's completed, but it's not fully equipped. But you can go, if you go by Franklin Middle School, you will see it's right in the front of the parking lot. So those are the two projects that I wanted to mention. Other than that, the ARP money primarily went to our infrastructure improvement. The old water line, water mains were replaced, are being replaced using that money. Part of the funding went to our sewer department, same case there. And then whatever was left, I think you heard Councilwoman talk about workforce training for the people that need retraining or some training and skills that can get them employed. So we are doing things for the community. We are making the lives better for the people of Franklin. We are doing the best we can. And I think the taxes we talked about multiple times. Just a quick comment on Mr. Walker's comment on the World Cup broadcast. So I have met with Place of Worship. They have a large ground, and we have talked about maybe hosting, or not hosting, really broadcasting, the telecasting the events on their grounds. We have identified a company that does the Jumbotron, mobile Jumbotron at the grounds, but we have to get a handle on how to manage the expenses. So we will talk more about that, but we are working on your idea. That's all I got, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Onijaka.
Thank you, Mayor. Westminster Road, which start, like, hello, okay. Westminster Road, we start from 27, Route 27, and it goes through Hampton Road. That road right now has been a very death trap. The speed on that limit actually is 25 miles an hour, but they drive up to 60 miles an hour on that particular road many, many times. See? So I'm suggesting that we install a speed bump on that road. Partly part of it has speed bump installed towards Hampton Road and Glen Townhouse. But the other part of it has no speed bump as at now. So basically we need to study it and install it there to reduce the speed and save lives. Another thing is...
I'm sorry, Councilman, what road was that?
That's Westminster Road. We start from 20.
Thank you. Thank you.
Way down. Okay. Another important thing is Glen Development Area. It's partially marked. You know, that area, we have a very serious problem with parking. So what they did was they marked only on the pavement, but which is not complete. We really need to go out there and do a complete marking on that area. That will help the residents living in that area very, very well. Okay, that is two. Mr. Walker, I spoke with a couple of my friends on the World Cup coming to New Jersey and New York. They are very, very happy to be part of it. So, and they are working on it too. But what they are complaining about, will there be entertainment? Will there be alcohol for them to drink? So I don't know about the location. So that is what is going on. They are happy. We're happy that you brought the suggestion. Thank you, Mayor. That is what I have for tonight.
Thank you. Dr. Karazi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much, Councilwoman, for the comments about the Senior Citizen Center. I have heard that Quailbrook provides free or low-cost lunch, so I have to look into it, but we will make this as an agenda item for the next meeting. And by the way, if we decide to offer free lunch, that doesn't mean that taxpayers have to pay. We can look for sponsorship and others. So there are other ways, because as a council, our responsibility is to keep the taxes low. So we don't want to just to treat one group versus the other. There are other ways that we can get funds to do what we like to do. So we appreciate that one. Most of the thing has been said already about taxes and so forth. So the only thing that I wanted to mention is that Human Relations meeting is on the 27th and across the hall. So please come and hear about human relationship activities, and some of the things that you bring in here will be great. I also want to mention about the voting that I heard about that you described. I think it's something that we should look into it. Anything that helps our democracy and make things fair, it's worthwhile to look into it. And if we see that it's really going to do the job, especially considering the diversity of our community, I think it's something that we need to look into it seriously and come with some sort of a decision that is important for our community members. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Deputy Mayor Shipa Udine.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, so I have a couple quick things before I get into the other stuff, but I want to talk about one of the topics that's been burning from last week on B9. So the planning board meeting met on B9 last week, and there were conditions, about 30 of them, that were discussed and reviewed. The public had a public session to talk and provide additional conditions, and they reviewed that with the planning board team there. Now, currently, what do we do next, right? What is the next step? The next step is that now all this goes up to the judge for review, and that is something that we're going to follow through. There is a meeting next month, so if you go to our township page website, go to the planning board meeting, drop down, there's an agenda, just like how you find the council. You would also get to know exactly when the meetings are taking place, and I'll continue to provide updates as we are getting information loaded for that. So that's one of the bigger things I wanted to talk about. Just last week, we also wrapped up, so I had a complete summer health series program, part of the mayor's wellness program, where I had asked seniors as to what are the topics, key health issues, things that just bothered you or you wanted to learn about from a seminar, educational purpose. So a couple things came on. We wanted to have folks talk about anxiety. So we had one of our very own, Phyllis Beast, talk about anxiety. She had a workshop. We spoke about bone density, right? We had a person from the hospital come and discuss that. Just last week, when we wrapped it up, we spoke about Medicaid 101. So as renewals are approaching in October, I believe, it's important that you navigate and understand your options so that you can get the best option for your needs, because there's a lot going on out there, and we just want to make sure we open up and provide you just a platform where you can go and pick your options. And we have done a seminar that was completely full. So all these workshops that I've done in the last month and going into August, a month and a week, you'll notice that it's been filled, so that tells me that there's a lot of need of these seminars because folks have been coming and taking full advantage of them. So thank you for that, and thank you to the staff, Parks and Recs, and Safi from our special project manager for working out all the logistics for that. Public Works meeting, I think we heard a lot from our council members on it. I just wanted to highlight a couple things on that. So as you know that apart from our funds that go out to pave the roads, which is very important. We want to make sure that's part of our public safety. That's very important to us. We want to make sure there's no potholes. If there's, we're repairing them. We also get something called the capital paving state funding. So we apply for grants to the state, and based on the grants they provide us, there's a couple criteria and requirements, and they look at that and provide us with roads that we can pave. So you may be aware in 23 we had DeMott Lane approved, so that DeMott Lane stretch got paved. So they look at a couple criteria with the length and the roads damages, etc. So in 24 we had New Brunswick Road, Willow to DeMott Lane. These are all in Ward 2 areas, right? So and right now in 25 we had put in for Pierce Street, Cedar Grove to Davidson, because that's another area that's large and has been conditioned pretty heavy, so we just got it approved. The work won't start this year because it's almost nearing down to summer, and we'll have that for spring of next year. But these are really important information. We talk about money, where it's being spent, and how the taxpayers are putting in, but our staff is also working very closely on looking at grants, right, to see where we can pull in money that's outside, so we're not always coming after the residents as well. And also, I do want to point out that anything that impacts you guys impacts us directly as well. We don't get any special tax breaks sitting here, so we all have tax increases that we have to pay for. So just want to state that out there as well. You might have also noticed in Ward 2, New Brunswick Road is going to get temporarily closed starting next week on the 18th for 33 days. That's not with the town, that's with the county project that's been approved. So, and then it's gonna get temporarily paved. So you might start seeing some caution signs being put up and wondering what's going on. So that is something that the county picked up on, which is on their end. And there will be detours that'll be announced there. So that's on the Public Works. So, and I think, is Ed back? Oh, he's not back. Councilman Potasnik did not mention this, but there is another big project that one of our residents brought up to us a couple council sessions ago called the Nessie project. A lot of us have been, and then this council's pretty much been very involved. It's important for me to let you know again, once again, why. You know, we stopped it once, we need to stop it again, right? There's an upcoming public hearing meeting on September 10th. And if you haven't seen it, please make sure you go sign up. Many of us on council have signed up to make comments. And if you would like to make comments, I think there's a deadline, I'm not sure, but it's all online. You can definitely go and click and sign up and be part of that. That's something that we need to take control. We have to make sure it's stopped because it will be a direct impact to a lot of residents. A lot of us talk about health, climate, pollution, all that, right? So you gotta remember that's going straight through us. So we have to make sure we're all in this to stop this project from going on. Taxes, we spoke about quite a bit today, and I think we will continue to talk about it. I do wanna thank this council. I wanna thank Mayor for putting this beautiful spreadsheet that almost broke my phone opening it up, Mayor, but it has done its job. It gives a very detailed breakout of our tax assessment. It's so important because when we get the bill, we just see one total due amount and we assume, okay, this is all happening here at the tax, the council's raising these increases, but it's so important to understand how that tax break works, and I think you're gonna get that at the town hall. So I really encourage everyone, if you're interested in your tax bill and just want to learn about it, our tax assessor team will be the subject matter experts, will be right there explaining, going over questionnaires, and just trying to help break that information. Along that line, Ward 2, specifically my ward, I have done quite a bit with Assemblyman Joe Dannison, providing property tax relief seminars all the way from January till now. We just concluded it in Renaissance. Sterling Point Center. So we've been continuously working on making sure the seniors understand about the senior freeze, the New Jersey Anchor Program. How do you apply? Do you have questions on applying? So that's been worked on. I do know that the senior center is going to have another session of that, which is wider, open to the public. I don't have the date yet, but if you're interested and you fall under those brackets, please attend because they will walk you through it. They'll tell you how to apply and possibly get money back. It's important that you take advantage of anything that's out there that can help you. And the last thing I do want to mention is that, look, we have budget hearings every year that are open to the public. We go through line by line, department by department. We sit on it and we discuss what's happening from last year versus this year. Where's the uptick? If there is an increase, why there is an increase, right? So this town council has been very transparent on that. I want to make sure that we're not just hiding some agenda somewhere and saying, hey, this is where it's happening and here, go find it, right? It's very open. We go through that every year. And it's very clear as to where we ask questions, at least in our departments. You have noticed that if you go back to some of those recordings, we have stopped a lot of increases. We want to know why, but we try to offer the same services, or if not more, at a very low department funding amount. So I know we're talking about taxes a lot today, but please understand that this team, this council has always been very transparent on providing information. There's going to be a lot of things going out, and it's hard to understand when you're seeing a number that's just this big and you see thousands of dollars going out, but it's also important to understand that breakdown and where to go when you have those specific questions, because this is just one lever, I call it, or one portion of the bill. And then there are other portions that the mayor explained, the council members explained. So it's important to understand those levers and where do you go to ask those questions. We can always help answer those questions in terms of navigating you to the right person, but it's important to also be there. As Councilman Ambarson mentioned, I was one of the members there when the Board of Ed discussed the budget hearing, and I fully went in and said, if this impacts the seniors, this impacts those single moms, the single dads that are living on those fixed income, right? But again, we're just the two people that went up there and kind of spoke about it, and the board made the direction of moving forward with it because of the caveats that they have. If they don't raise, then they're underfunded by the state. So they had their hands also tied with the state there on not getting funded. So I just want to mention that it's so important to, be educated onto the tax portion, but also the rest of the other stuff that goes on. So that's all I had, Mayor. Thank you so much. I know you made it a little long, but just want to be clear. Thank you.
Thank you. I've already talked quite a bit. The only thing I'm going to add is the Franklin 250, which is a celebration of the 250th year of our nation. Mr. LaCourte is doing a bang-up job with that. The first event looks like it's coming along nicely, which will be on January 4th, 2026, to commemorate the Conference on Horseback, where right after the Battle of Princeton, the Washington met with his generals in what's the southern part of our town?
Rockingham.
No, Kingston. Thank you. Thank you. Met in Kingston, in the cemetery in Kingston. It wasn't a cemetery then. And decided whether they were going to go to New Brunswick or to rest at Jockey Hollow. And the Battle of Princeton people that are celebrate Battle of Princeton every year are very excited about joining us for the Conference on Horseback celebration. And a local restaurant seems interested in sponsoring a reception that'll be at no cost to the town. So we're very excited about that. That's one of 5 events that happened in Franklin, and I'm looking forward to that and the other 4 events as they come to fruition. That's all I had. Mr. Acting Manager, have you?
I do not have anything at this time, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Thank you.
We said it all.
How uncharacteristic of the seat. All right, so we have no council discussion item. Item number 11, approval of the minutes. We're going to start the meeting now. There are no minutes to be approved. Approval of the warrants in the amount of $10,608,716.62 on August 12, 2025 are presented to the Township Council for payment. Do we have a motion on the minutes?
So moved.
And a second?
Seconded.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone would like to pull an item or put the acting manager on the spot? Madam Clerk.
Councilman Harrison?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Batosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Udine?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
It passes. Public hearing and adoption on ordinance on second reading. This is, second readings are when we actually vote on an item to see whether we're going to pass it or not. First readings are when we announce it to the general public that we are intending to take a vote. So we have one ordinance on second reading, 4472-25, an ordinance amending the code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 50, Police Department, Section 50-8, requirements for appointment to the police force, is presented to the public for public hearing and final adoption. The public hearing has been noticed as required. So we have a motion to open for public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Who then seconded? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion is carried. We are open for the public on this item only. Same rules apply.
Seeing no one, I move to close the public session. I'm sorry.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of closing the public session say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion is carried. Public session is closed. Do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This is really just cleaning up some verbiage in an ordinance we have. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Barrison?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Udine?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Item number 14, ordinances on introduction and first reading. Ordinance 447125, an ordinance amending the municipal code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 115, Dogs and Other Animals, with amendments to Article 1, General Provisions, and Article 2, Dogs and Cats, and the addition of Article 7, Wildlife, and Article 8, Free Roaming Cat Colonies. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, and publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on Tuesday, September 9th at 7 p.m. in the council chambers. Do we have a motion to adopt? To introduce.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. The discussion is, this has been discussed quite thoroughly. Some changes have been made to, in the interest of people agreeing on it, and is there any other discussion? Okay, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Barrison?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Udine?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 4473-25, an ordinance of the Township Council, an ordinance of the Township of Franklin authorizing the acquisition from Franklin Somerset First Aid Squad, Block 302, lots 6, 7, 9, and 10, and 11, on the official tax map of the Township of Franklin. Foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, and publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption of the meeting of the Township Council to be held on Tuesday, September 9th, 2025, at 7 p.m. in the council chambers. Do we have a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. So this is an area of land near Somerset Transmission that has been, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, this is the First Aid's, I'm tired tonight.
You're right.
This is the
Mayor,
first-
this is the First Aid Squad
Squad.
property. The squad has stopped operating. The remaining members have elected to turn the property back over to the township. This authorizes us to accept it.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Is there any cost involved in this, Mayor?
I believe, yes, there is. There's a very small cost. We've, because the squad doesn't have any funds, we've actually agreed to pay for their attorney. I think it's $2,500.
Could you give me the address on that, in case somebody wants to do a drive-by?
It's in Franklin.
189
It's in.
Near the intersection of Belmore, for those interested.
Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. It's in Franklin.
Any other discussion? Madam Clerk.
Councilman Barrison?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Udine? Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Now the ordinance I was thinking of, 4474-25, an ordinance amending the code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 112, land development to rezone lots from the general business area, GB zone, to the R7 single-family residential zone. The foregoing ordinance is presented to Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, and publication in accordance with law, and a public hearing for final adoption at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on Tuesday, September 30th, 2025, at 7 p.m. in Township Council chambers. Do we have a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. This is about rezoning some properties near Somerset Transmission near Route 27, where they're in the BI or GB zone. So if someone wants to make a minor change to their property, where they normally would have to get permits, they now have to go before the zoning board. People have been claiming that they're holding back on improving properties because of this restriction. So this is to zone the properties more towards how they are being used. Any other discussion?
Just, that's a single family, not multifamily, right?
Single family, yes.
R7, yes.
Okay.
Well, wait a minute. You can build a two-family home, but you need 15,000 square feet.
Correct.
So, just to be clear, you would need a minimum of two 7,000-foot lots to be able to build a two-family, or Vince, would that allow them to build a four-family?
Two-family. You could build a single family or a two-family. A two-family, you need 15,000 square feet.
Okay, so just want to be clear, because I...
One duplex on 15,000. You could build a duplex.
A duplex, okay. No, I'm supportive of this. I think it kind of works. Well, we don't need to go into it now. I just wanted to make sure, with the details. Thank you, Acting Manager and Attorney.
Motion second and discussion. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Navarison?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onechaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
On to the consent agenda, items A through AU. How many is that?
11.
47.
47. Now, there's a consent agenda. As listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to Township Council for adoption. Do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Anyone like to pull an item or point out an item?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
This is where your money gets spent. Ooh, I lost it. Okay. AG, when people say we're not spending money on recreation, there's a $400,000 item from January 1 to December 31st on competitive contract for recreation and enrichment programs. So there you go on one, $400,000. Now, for the second, there'll be a festival here at the Township Gazebo. It's put on by One Family, One Fight, Inc., and it'll be R&B music and games. Now, the reason it's called One Family, One Flight is a young lady lost her son through stupidity in the streets of Franklin Township. So she does this as a reminder for everyone, sometimes it's not your fight to be in a fight. So you need to remember that. And then everyone needs to come out, good time, and definitely have some fun. Mr. Mayor, that's it for me.
I just want to point out the stupidity was not on her part. Some people might have misinterpreted what you said.
What?
You said she lost her son due to stupidity. It wasn't her stupidity, it was other stupidity.
Yeah, it was other stupidity.
I just wanted to make that
But
clear.
it's that when we start killing each other, it's stupid.
I agree. Any other comments or? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Navarison?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onechaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Resolution to be voted on separately. Resolution 25-364, authorizing Township Council to send a letter to the state legislatures regarding property tax-based reform, property tax-based funding reform. Do we have a motion on this item?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. So for discussion, I just want to read two of the opening paragraphs on it. This is to Senators Bob Smith, Assemblyman Joe Danielson, and Assemblyman Kevin Egan. Dear legislators, we are writing to urge you to take bold action to address a long-standing and increasingly harmful flaw in our state school funding system. The reliance on local property taxes as a primary source of revenue for public education. The basic tenet of a progressive tax system is that those who, with the means to pay, contribute more than those who do not. Our property tax system, however, is over 400 years old. Perhaps in the past, the value of one's property was a reasonable proxy for one's ability to pay. That is no longer the case. And it goes on to ask to abolish the use of property taxes to pay for our schools. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Noni Chaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Thank you. This council cares about what's going on. We're taking action to try to stop it and amend it. Also to be voted on separately, Resolution 25-365, insurance of a special event permit, issuance of a special event permit, Week of the People, community gathering, August 16th, 2025, from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Naaman Williams Park. Do we have a motion from?
So moved.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I want to see everybody's face in the park on Saturday. It's going to be a good event. We do it every year. Miss Francois, she's part of that team, and I want everybody to show up. The time?
Any other discussion?
It's free, like Councilman said.
2 o'clock to 5 p.m.
Yes.
Madam Clerk?
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Noni Chaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Old business, 2025 boards, commissions, committee vacancies. Does anyone have a nomination?
Mr. Mayor, clerk sent a few names. I don't know if you have seen it. They are like 7 people that they have applied or they have sent their application for various openings that we have. Who is going to be talking about them? You mentioned about Mr. Walker, but there's also another person, Sybil Pierce, who also interested in cultural art. And based on the note that we got, there's only one position available for cultural art. And there are also 2 for Hamilton Street, but unfortunately both of them are not resident, and so we cannot nominate them. There is one for Advisory Recreation Council. I don't know who is the liaison for that.
Mr. Wright, Councilman Wright.
Councilman Wright, okay. So what are we doing with this 5 that potentially they can be members?
That's up to the council to nominate.
Okay.
Well, so when I spoke earlier, I spoke about Mr. Walker. He was interested in the Alliance and the cultural arts, and he just hollered out and said, could I have both? Now, one of the things that he's been talking about, this, what is the thing you got?
Soccer.
This World Cup, the World Cup. Is that under the cultural arts? So why can't we nominate him for both?
So we have one person also is interested in cultural art, and we only have one position open as far as I can tell.
Right, but he's here now, and he's
Okay.
interested.
Well, no.
Sorry.
Councilwoman? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Mayor.
Okay, I'm done.
We can nominate whoever we want to nominate, and people can then vote.
So,
Go ahead, Mr.
yeah, I'm sorry, Mayor. So just hearing this without trying to extend it, it sounds like there might be a little confusion over how many seats or who would be appointed to cultural arts. Perhaps the council would entertain nominating Mr. Walker for the Drug Alliance, and then we could just pause and fill at the next meeting the cultural arts after we've just had time to review the request. I don't know if that sounds reasonable, so, you know, we're moving forward, but not too quickly.
That's reasonable, because there are two other people that are interested in cultural arts.
And maybe it is Mr. Walker, but yeah, okay. So just a suggestion, but it's your motion, so, or your nominations and Mr. Karazi's commentary.
So do we have a nomination?
So, well, I'll nominate Mr., well, go ahead, Councilwoman Francois, I know you were, I don't want to.
Based on what I'm hearing, I would like to nominate Mr. Walker for the Municipal Alliance.
Okay, any other nominations for that position?
There is no nomination here, so I think that will be fine.
We're looking for a lot of people to fill that committee.
Okay, any other nominations for any other position?
So there's one, we have 4 openings in the Historic Preservation Advisory Commission.
Can't hear you, Councilman, sorry.
So there are 4 openings on the Historic Preservation Advisory Commission, and we have an applicant here, Zoma Nukwe. Sorry if I pronounce it wrong. So we do need more members there, so I nominate Zoma Nukwe to the Historic Preservation.
I recommend we hold off on that, because I think with historic, I don't know if we're getting a lot of echo, maybe you can recommend it. In historic, you need certain classes of individuals. Some have to be an engineer, some have to live in the historic district, some are just regular residents. Are you aware of the 4 vacancies, what categories or classes they fall under?
According to the agenda, they're all regular members.
Yeah, but regular members have classes, and I don't have them.
I just don't want, I want to make sure we put that person in, that we know what that person is and what seat they're filling, because it could cause a cascade of conflict then to fill the other ones. Just not that I know anything about the individual.
Yeah, I don't either, because we need, yeah, we needed members. And,
I think you should work with Vincent, Tara, probably.
Who's Zoma?
Just make sure we get it right.
That guy's a Nigerian.
Oh, he's a Nigerian? And from the name, yeah. You know him?
I don't know him, but he's from my area.
From your area?
Yeah.
All right.
So we just kind of hold off and just check, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, it'll just take a few minutes to go over and speak to the individual and find out what class they are. But we need to appoint the person to a specific class.
Yeah.
By the way, that person is interested to 4 different advisory boards, so that's not the only one. So interested in the Board of Adjustment, Historic Preservation, Housing Authority, and Planning Board. So there are 4 things that person is interested in.
So, Councilman Embarrasson?
Councilman, you want to adopt it?
If I have his number, I don't have his number.
It should be on the form.
On the?
On the phone.
On the phone, okay.
Okay.
So do we have a nomination?
I'm going to vote.
And then if they fit one of the categories, you'll bring it back in September. Okay.
So we have one nomination for...
And we're going to ask Madam Clerk inform the 2 who are put their information for the Hamilton Street Advisory Board that that is only for the residents, so they are not qualified to apply for that particular board.
Okay, so I want to stick to nominations. We have one nomination. Any other nominations?
I move that the nominations be closed.
Second.
Okay. All in favor of closing nominations, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Not the usual way we do it, but fine, we've done it. So, Madam Clerk. Oh, I'm sorry, we can do it by acclamation
Yes.
because it's only one person for one position. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Congratulations, Mr. Walker. Moving on. We have an executive session. Resolution 25-363, an authorized executive session, potential open space acquisition, West Point Avenue properties and Brenner properties, and litigation, SHI International, is presented to Township Council for adoption. Do we have a motion to go to executive session?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Barrison?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik?
Maybe. Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
No speeches, Mr. Potasnik.
No.
So